Hi everybody, we're back with another episode of Decks on Deck, and today we're going to be taking a look at MARDU PYROMANCER. Now this is a deck that's been around for a year and a bit, but everybody likes to put their own spin on good decks, and honestly that's better for competitive gameplay because you'll catch somebody off guard, so here's my take on the deck. So we'll start off with the mana base. We're starting off with 2 Blackleaf Cliffs. Fast mana is important, especially when you can save your life. Now our Shock, so 1 Godless Shrine, 2 Sacred Foundries, and 2 Blood Crypts. We're going to follow it up with our fetches, which is going to be 4 Arid Maces and 4 Bloodstained Mires. Fetching on color is always important. It'll save you life and allow you to find your basics more efficiently, of which we have 3 mountains, because this is primarily a red deck, 2 swamps, and a plains. I've seen some versions of this deck play with the deck without a plains. I actually find that's a big mistake, because you do need that white mana for a lot of your spells that you'll need to play through that Blood Moon. Hence why having the white fetch is actually more important. If I could trade this out for a Marsh Flats, I would. Getting down to our 1-drops, which is essentially the fuel of the deck. We're going to have 4 Inquisitions and 2 Thoughtseizes. There's our turn 1 hand disruption. Essentially, it allows us to gain knowledge on what our opponent's gameplay is, and also gets us to throw stuff in our graveyard, which is going to help fuel our Bedlam Revelers early on in the game. It's a cheap spell. And it also works very well with Pyromancer over here. So we have 2 fatal pushes. Catches your Goyfs, catches your birds, catches a whole bunch of oppressive things in green decks, and is essentially a one-shot creature killer, along with our 4 lightning bolts. Now, the Faithless Looting, clearly the engine of the deck. It's helping to fuel our Bedlam Revelers over here. It helps us throw our instants and sorceries that we don't need in the graveyard, and the flashback ability feels a whole lot more like card advantage than card filtering, to be honest. We have our 2 Mana Tides. That's going to be my flair on the deck. Mana Tithe is a wonderful spell. Essentially, you catch people off guard all the time, and it can get you some free wins. We have 1 Path to Exile to deal with some large creatures, as well as 1 Dreadbore over here to deal with those Tassigers, Hollowed Ones, and those big creatures that our other spells sometimes just can't deal with. We have 2 Collective Brutalities, which is useful in the burn matchup, and also provides more hand disruption. 3 Kolaghan's commands are going to be very useful when we have to get back our Bedlam Revelers to essentially keep rifling through our deck and finding more cards. Our Lingering Souls are going to provide blockers and essentially ample card advantage that we can also use to early pitch into our graveyard and flash back off of our Faithless Looting. When you flash back a Lingering Souls, when you have a young Pyromancer on the battlefield, it feels extremely good and feels like a whole bunch of value just keeps flowing on your board state. We're going to be playing 2 Blood Moons. Free wins, people. Free wins. Tron, you know what I'm saying? You play against Valakut, you can just get these free wins. It's an extremely valuable card, and we would not play the deck without it, and is also the reason why we're playing the plains and the swamps the way we are. Our creature base, pretty simple. 4 Young Pyromancer, the best card in Magic, in my personal opinion. It's my favorite card, and I believe this is the best card in Modern. And Bedlam Revelers. Nothing better than a Bedlam Reveler. Draws you a bunch of cards. Obviously works with the synergistic instants and sorceries theme of the deck. Now, last things would be our sideboard. So, green is annoying. Those Coco decks, they're troubling. We have to play Anger the Gods. We'll keep them off winning. We'll keep them off those combos. Burn and those long grindy matchups. We have 2 Sorons. Sorin is going to be useful because it can provide large life swings with its +1 ability. 2 Wear and Tears, essentially for all those technical matchups, those lantern matchups, and all those weird little things. 1 Ratchet Bomb to essentially be a failsafe and catch a whole bunch of stuff. Also useful against Storm when they try the Empty the Warrants plan against a token deck. You can just catch them off tempo. We have a bunch of Graveyard Hate, 3 Surgical Extractions, and 2 Tormod's Crypts. Essentially different types of Graveyard Hate for different situations, but often enough you end up boarding it all in. We have 1 Cabal, 1 Goblin Rabblemaster. Cabal helps against Storm, and a few other weird sorcery control type matchups where it just keeps on going back and forth and back and forth. And Goblin Rabblemaster is just essentially creating a better clock. And 1 Crackling Doom. Crackling Doom is surprisingly useful for the Through the Breach matchup, the Boggles matchup, and it can essentially just play into a whole bunch of weird situations. And that's essentially the deck. Thanks for your time. This is Decks on Deck.